You're listening to Avita, an AI-generated research briefing avatar trained on the research framework and methodology of Dr. Eva Wolf, marketing professor, AI researcher, and founder of Big Plans Media. Every day, Evita scans emerging research in AI, marketing, consumer behavior, psychographics, and business strategy to identify the most relevant developments, opportunities, and risks worth watching. These daily radar reports are designed to help busy professionals stay informed without having to read hundreds of research papers themselves. And every Friday, join Dr. Eva Wolf live for her personally recorded weekly AI Marketing Radar Roundup, where she breaks down the biggest stories, explains what actually matters, and shares practical insights and strategic implications for marketers, educators, entrepreneurs, and business leaders. Now, here's today's Radar Report. Here's the uncomfortable question this week. If AI is now an advertising channel, and it is as of February 2026, does anyone actually know what it's saying about your brand? That's the thread running through today's papers. AI's uneven performance across marketing tasks, the new era of LLM advertising, and an engineering play that tells you whether your AI ad vendor is burning your budget. We screened 376 papers this week. 3 cleared the full text bar and made the radar. Quick caveat, this is a first pass research briefing, not a final academic review. Every paper today has full text access. I'll tell you what the papers suggest, what they don't prove, and which ones deserve a deeper read. Okay, let's get into the first one. Paper 1. You've probably heard the pitch. Use AI for everything. Content, captions, visuals, the whole stack. This paper says, not so fast. Researchers in Indonesia ran a multi-method study on tourism marketing students. One group used AI tools, one group didn't. Same task. Then they interviewed industry practitioners to understand what actually drives adoption. Here's what they found. AI made everyone faster, across the board. But faster did not mean better, and the gap depended entirely on the task. Long-form content, destination guides, blog posts, itineraries, AI improved both speed and quality. Meaningful improvement. Short social captions, no difference. Same quality, just faster. Visual design work? AI made the outputs worse. I'm telling you, that last one matters. How many teams right now are defaulting to AI-generated visuals and assuming they're at least neutral? They may actually be hurting themselves. And then there's the digital literacy finding. It acts like a master switch. People with stronger digital skills got more out of the AI. People with weaker skills, AI actually lowered the quality of their work. So it's not just which task you use AI for, it's who on your team is using it. Let me translate that. 5 people on your team, 2 are power users, 3 are comfortable but not advanced. Roll out AI tools to everyone without checking skill levels first, and you might be improving output for 2 people and quietly degrading it for 3. That's the piece I care about. Plain English payoff. AI is a quality multiplier for long-form content and a potential quality drag for visuals and low literacy users. So match the tool to the task and the person, not the hype. Money move. If you work in tourism or content-heavy marketing, there's a productized service waiting here. A content AI audit that tells clients exactly which tasks are AI ready and which need human hands. This paper basically hands you the framework. Try this by Friday. Do a quick task audit with your team. List the content types you produce: long form, short captions, visuals, and flag which ones you're using AI for. Then ask the honest question: has output quality actually changed, or are you just assuming it has? Evidence check. The sample sizes aren't reported, which is a real problem for an experimental study. And the participants are tourism students in Indonesia, not working professionals. Directionally useful. I wouldn't bet a major workflow overhaul on this one alone. Radar verdict: use cautiously. The task-by-task breakdown makes intuitive sense and is genuinely useful. But unreported sample sizes and a student population mean you validate this against your own content before acting at scale. Paper 2. This one kept me up a little. Think about the difference between a Google search and asking ChatGPT a question. Google gives you 10 links. You can see where they came from. You can judge the sources. You decide what to trust. ChatGPT gives you one answer: confident, authoritative, no source list you actually read. Now add advertising to that. This is a peer-reviewed commentary in a medical journal, ophthalmology specifically, and it makes the case that LLMs are now a live advertising channel with all the commercial influence risks that come with that. The authors point to February 2026. OpenAI started testing ads inside ChatGPT. Google already runs shopping ads inside AI overviews. So this is not hypothetical. AI answers are officially part of the ad landscape. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. The authors argue someone with enough money could flood the internet with AI-generated articles, fake reviews, self-promoting content, and train AI systems to recommend their product or clinic without any user ever knowing the recommendation was influenced. They frame it in healthcare. A patient asks an AI which eye surgeon to trust. The AI has been quietly trained on sponsored content. The patient arrives at the appointment already convinced. But hear that as a marketing pattern, not just a medical ethics problem. The same dynamic applies to any high-trust category: financial services, legal, health and wellness, even B2B software where buyers are doing independent research that's actually an AI summary of whatever content is out there. Okay, here's the thing, and I want to be honest about this. This paper does not prove manipulation is happening at scale right now. It argues it's possible, it's emerging, and the guardrails don't exist yet. That's different from proof. But the direction is clear enough that waiting to pay attention is a mistake. What genuinely surprised me, even when ads are technically separate from the AI's answer, like OpenAI claims, there are subtler influence pathways. What's in the training data? What content gets synthesized? What gets left out? Ads being labeled doesn't fix the underlying signal problem. Plain English payoff. AI chatbots compress hundreds of sources into one confident answer, which makes them a more powerful commercial influence channel than search ever was, and a much less transparent one. Money move. Add "What does ChatGPT say about us?" to your brand monitoring checklist. Right now, this week, that AI answer is part of your brand perception whether you're managing it or not. Try this by Friday. Open ChatGPT and ask it to recommend the best options in your category. See what comes up. See if your brand appears. See what it says. That's your baseline. Evidence check. This is an opinion piece. No original data, no experiment. Expert reasoning and synthesis, not empirical proof. It can tell you what to watch for. It cannot tell you how common LLM manipulation is right now because no one has measured it yet. Radar verdict. Read now. Not because the evidence is airtight, it isn't, but because the authors identified a real structural shift before most marketers are paying attention. The ChatGPT ad rollout is real. The influence architecture is real. This is the moment to get ahead of it. Paper 3. This one's for the ad tech crowd, or anyone about to hire an AI ad platform who wants to know the right questions to ask. The main bottleneck stopping advertisers from using LLMs for real-time ad delivery isn't output quality. It's that full-size language models are too slow and too expensive to run at the millisecond pace live ad bidding requires. This paper, a preprint from Baidu's engineering team, describes how they solved that problem in production. Short version, they shrank the model's memory footprint dramatically using compression, and they rebuilt the generation process so the system verifies a whole batch of possible ad tokens at once instead of predicting one at a time. The result? More than 1.8 times faster in real-world tests on Baidu's live advertising platform. Roughly 78% improvement in inference speed. And critically, quality stayed competitive. They didn't just make it faster and blow up the targeting accuracy. Why does this matter if you're not an ML engineer? Because this is exactly the moment ad tech vendors start claiming their platforms run AI-powered real-time targeting, and most of them won't be doing what Baidu did. They'll be running full precision models and eating the compute cost and charging you for it, or they'll be using slower batch processes dressed up as real-time. This paper gives you the vocabulary to probe those claims. Ask your vendor, do you use model compression in production? How do you handle inference latency at scale? What does your accuracy look like versus an uncompressed baseline? If they can't answer those questions, that tells you something. Plain English payoff. LLMs can run fast enough for real-time ad targeting, but only with serious engineering. And the gap between vendors who've done that work and vendors who haven't is enormous. Money move. Before you sign a contract with any AI ad platform, ask specifically how they optimize inference speed. A vendor running uncompressed models at scale is burning compute and eventually your budget. Try this by Friday. Pull up your current AI ad platform or any vendor you're evaluating and ask them one question. How do you handle real-time inference latency? Their answer, or their blank stare, is your due diligence. Evidence check. This is a preprint, not peer-reviewed, and every single experiment was run inside Baidu's proprietary infrastructure. You cannot assume the 1.8 times speedup translates to a different platform, a different LLM architecture, or a different ad system. Directional benchmark, not a universal number. Radar verdict. Watch list for most marketers. Test this week if you're an ad tech or evaluating LLM-powered ad vendors specifically. The engineering contribution is real, but preprint status and Baidu-only results mean you treat this as informed background, not a blueprint. Okay, so here's what I think is actually happening this week. These 3 papers are telling the same story from different angles. AI isn't a switch you flip, it's a system with conditions. It helps with the right tasks in the hands of the right people, built on the right infrastructure. When those conditions aren't met, it either doesn't help or it actively hurts. Paper 1 says, match AI to the task or you're degrading your own output. Paper 2 says, AI answers are now a commercial influence layer, and most brands aren't even monitoring theirs. Paper 3 says, the engineering underneath real-time AI advertising is genuinely hard, and most vendors aren't being transparent about it. But here's what I keep coming back to. The middle paper changes the frame for everything else. If AI chatbots are now an advertising channel, an influence layer billions of people trust for recommendations, then every decision you make about content, about reputation, about what you publish and why, now has an LLM audience, not just a human one. And the rules for that audience are different, less transparent, harder to audit, and right now, almost nobody is managing for it. That's the tension. The tactics are getting more sophisticated. Faster models, smarter compression, task-specific AI workflows, and the influence architecture is getting less visible at the same time. Here's the playbook from today. 1. Audit your current AI content workflow by task type. Long form gets AI. Visuals get a human. Short captions, test before you assume. 2. Ask ChatGPT what it says about your brand, your category, and your competitors. Do it today. That answer is your new brand perception baseline. 3. If you're evaluating any AI ad platform, ask them directly how they handle inference latency and model compression. If they can't explain it, that's your answer. One of today's papers is a preprint, the Baidu engineering piece. Treat it as a benchmark and a vocabulary builder, not a proven playbook. The other two are peer-reviewed, but one has unreported sample sizes and one has no original data at all. Use them to decide what to test, not what to blindly believe. Links to all 3 papers are in the show notes. Read the originals before making major decisions. Want the human expert take? Join Dr. Eva Wolf every Friday for the AI Marketing Radar Roundup, where she extracts no-nonsense money-making tips, practical strategy, and real business opportunities from the week's research. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. This is Evita for Big Plans Media, and I'll be back in the next Radar Brief.